One-on-one. My name is Titi Oyinsan. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to go live with you because there's always really important discussions to have. Today's episode is going to explore something really essential, and hopefully, you're going to get on board with what we're talking about today. You're going to make comments, add your own contributions as well. Take note that our comment section is always right there for you to use. You can add questions in there, comments, contributions, or even just add a pleasant, welcoming emoji if you like. We'd love for you to subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow this handle so that you don't miss a thing. Okay, our topic today is the impact of big food on children's health. We're going to get some insights from a youth advocate, and this episode is going to explore the critical issues raised by the Healthy Living Alliance, HEALA. Now, it's regarding the impact of big food on children's health and the role of the food industry in shaping children's eating habits. Now, the health implications, potential policy solutions to address these issues as well. And just for those of you who don't understand who big food represent, similar to big pharma, uh, big agriculture, big oil, big food is characterized by the domination of a major market just by a few large companies. Now, in this case, the industry is being marketed and sold to consumers. But when you think about the lack of competition in this industry because of these few companies, it leads to a host of problems because the primary goal of big food, of course, is to make money. Now, these companies frequently place profit over the health of consumers, the environment, animals, etc. And towards this end, it is alleged that ingredients used in certain countries are not permitted in other certain countries. For instance, I've heard that there are some ingredients that are used in the US that are not permitted to be used in the European Union because of the negative impact on human health. Now, the food sold in the US is generally of, well, it's considered lower quality than that sold in the European Union, with fewer whole ingredients and more additives, preservatives, which obviously results in a less healthy product. Today, we're going to have joining us a very special guest. She's making waves in the realm of youth activism and social change. Simphiwe Masilo is currently the youth programs intern at Youth SAIIA and has a remarkable track record in youth empowerment, gender activism, and policy engagement. It's great to have you here with us, Simphiwe. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, so I had quite a mouthful earlier on, Simphiwe, explain
Yeah.
what big food actually is, what it represents, and this is something you've been working on with um, HEALA, right? And I know
Yeah.
you have a lot more details for us. So just give us a brief introduction. Why is it that you are one of the best people to talk to us about this today? What is it that you found out about the impact of big food? Talk to us.
So I've been working on this campaign with HEALA as well as UNICEF through their Fix My Food campaign, which they're running across the globe. And recently we had a nutrition-based workshop at SIA, that's the South African Institute of International Affairs. And through running the workshop, through attending workshops hosted by Fix My Food as well as Bite Back, which is a UK-based nutrition campaigning advocacy workshop as well, and through HEALA, what we find out is that big food companies, especially within the global south, the statistics are scary and what they're doing is exceptionally scary. So you'll find that with some of these big food companies, they put more sugar in the food that goes to global south countries such as South Africa and than they do in food that goes to your global north countries. So things like some of your baby food might have more sugar in the global south than they do in global north. Another thing that really gripped me as a young person was looking at something basic as the South African Constitution. And I know globally we're known to have one of the best well documented constitutions, specifically Section 27 and 28 of our Constitution, that essentially says that every single South African citizen has a right to know what's in their food and has a right to access to nutritional and healthy food. But what's actually happening on the ground is something completely different and something completely scary. And finally, the last thing that really also gripped me was how big food companies are marketed towards kids. It's
Mm.
a attack, it's an harassment when we're on social media, when we're driving from location B to location A, on your billboards, on your TV. Every second advert that you see is just big food companies coming at you. I mean, I did an interview on a radio station, and one of my friends was recording it. They did a video recording of it, and at the top of that video recording, while it's me complaining about big food companies and how they harass us with their marketing, it is literally at the top of that a big food company harassing us with their marketing.
Wow. Wow. And it just pops up. The impact they're having is extremely significant. Sure. However, I'm thinking HEALA have a specific mission because there's a lot to be done. Is there
Yeah.
a specific a line that we need to toe right to make more impact? Because there's so much happening all over the world. What can we do right now?
So with HEALA specifically, there's two campaigns that they're trying to run. The first one is on the front of package labeling. In South Africa, we have a draft regulation called the R337 front of package labeling draft regulation. And essentially, what this draft regulation says is that on every single product that is in your market, that's in your shops, there needs to be on the front of that package what exactly is in that food. So if there's too much sugar, if there's no nutritional benefits whatsoever, that needs to be clearly stated on the front of package labeling. The second campaign is on the health promotion levy. Currently, there is a health promotion levy in South Africa. However, through HEALA, we're trying to get that health promotion levy to increase the sugar tax from the 11% that it's sitting at to 20%, and to also include juice, because juice actually has way too much sugar in it, but not a lot of people know this because on the front it says 100% juice. So these two campaigns go hand in hand. The front of package labeling, however, because it's still a draft, we're really pushing for government to expedite the implementation of that FOPL I337 draft regulation. And I mean, it's not just HEALA asking for this, it's also the Fix My Food South African campaign that's also asking for this. And I'll also include SIRE, the youth at SIRE Kids as well, through the nutrition workshop that we worked on. We're currently working on our own youth statement on the state of nutrition. So it's a lot of impacts that we're trying to push for, and especially asking for governments to support us in this, considering that at the end of the day, it is government's responsibility to be taking care of its citizen, especially us as young kids we're not the future. At Youth at SIRE, we like to say that youth are leading now, because right now the future is in our hands.
So I've noted that when I speak with parents, they want to sort of hear exactly what happens when they consume these foods, because these are the foods that are the most affordable, easiest to access. They're almost always available. It's right there on the shelf. And guess what? My son, my daughter is demanding it. Why stress myself trying to find a healthier option when it's right there? So maybe we should give them some sort of wake up call, some realism. What exactly is it that marketing of unhealthy foods is doing?
So, for starters, in South Africa, we have some of the highest obesity rates for children under the age of 13. And this is because of the food that they're consuming. And I mean, I have two younger siblings who are under the age of 13, and I fully understand what it's like to walk into a shop and you have your candy bars and your chips that are right at the till, and they're
Mm.
begging for you to buy it for them. But when you think long term, it's not the best idea that you have. They lead to a lot of non-communicable diseases such as obesity, diabetes, hypertension. These are the type of things that we're needing people to run away from, and very fast. And through the increase of the health promotion levy and through the implementation of the front of package labeling, the I-337 regulation, we're hoping that people are aware of exactly what's going to happen. It's not normal for kids under the age of 13 to be suffering from obesity, to be having a stroke or a heart attack before you even reach 15, let alone 30. And it's all because of what you're consuming. And we can't even blame kids or parents when the marketing of this is done so phenomenally that it seeps into your subconscious. Example being that when you walk into your grocery store, when you're walking out the till, right there are your chips, your chocolates, your snacks, even how the grocery store is set up. And
Mm.
this is something we learned through Bite Back and UNICEF and Fix My Food. The way that the grocery store is set up is also done specifically so that it seeps into your subconscious.
Mm. So you actually feel like you need it. And if you don't pick it up at the shelf where it was originally placed, you're going to see it again, probably two or three times before you leave the store. You know, you're going to see, if you don't see the actual product again, you're going to see some kind of banner or sticker or something telling you,
Mm,
asking you if you have purchased yours, and making it seem like you own it. Yeah.
yeah.
So I have to think of, it feels almost impossible for you to pull back on such successful marketing campaigns, because obviously there's money being made. It is being considered a good thing to have a great product doing so well in the markets. Now, what are the policy solutions that HEALA are advocating right now? What are they advocating for to sort of influence, to combat the influence of big food?
So the two policies, the ones that I've mentioned, it's the expedition of the I-337 front of package labeling regulation, which
Mm,
essentially says that when you walk into a shop, all of those ingredients that are written at the back that no one has the time to read, because and
mm,
no one even understands because of the jargon of it, needs to be
mm,
simplified. Needs to, even if you have a little symbol, a black triangle that says too much sugar, that needs to be on the front of the package. People need to see exactly what they're about to consume. The second one would then also be the health promotion levy, the increase of the 11% to 20%, and including juice in those in that health promotion levy as well, on those taxes as well.
including
I
juice.
mean, yes,
So
including juice. There's a lot of sugar in juice.
yeah. So now, I'm thinking specifically including juice because of the fact that kids take juices every day, right?
Yes,
So this
yes,
is the everyday consumables, the fast moving consumer goods, right?
yes.
Now, what are the more healthy options that we're going to be recommending from here on out to the average parent?
So the average parent, I mean, South Africa has a lot of farming vendors, if I can, for lack of better term. Your fruits, your veggies, those are easier to find than what people think they are. And I mean, this is one way where we can definitely be supporting local. Just for an example, myself, when I'm commuting from home to work, the amount of people I see selling potatoes, onions, vegetables, those are the types of of chew on this. They showed us a video of a young farmer who's roughly about my age, in her 20s, in KZN. And what she does is she plates her fruits and veggies. So she farms her own food, and she goes into the community and she'll sell a plate for something simple as 100 rand. And on that plate, you'll have your onions, your spinach, even your full-blown chicken that's on there as well. I myself am a vegetarian, and I've been vegetarian for the past 8 years. And one thing that people always ask me about is it not expensive? And I'm not saying people need to be vegetarian, just making an example that getting your healthier fruits and vegetables.
Hello, Simphiwe. You're
Yes, we're back.
all right. I'm not sure what happened earlier on. I think it was just an internet glitch there, but we were talking about a particular campaign. You mentioned Chew on This, and I found this video. I hope you don't mind me playing it.
Please go ahead.
In South Africa, 1 in 5 children under the age of 13 is overweight or obese. That's double the global average. The Global Food Research Programme tells us that excess weight during childhood is likely to persist into adulthood. This increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, heart diseases, and cancer at a younger age. Young people are also hungry, which has devastating consequences and leads to poor learning outcomes. Our children here in South Africa consume an average of 50 grams of sugar per day. That's around 10 teaspoons, more than double the maximum amount of free sugars recommended by the World Health Organization. Then there's ultra-processed products like cereal that tells us it's healthy but has high amounts of sugar. But it's enticing to eat colorful, sugary cereal. And who tells us this, that it's cool and healthy? The way the box looks and big food companies.
Okay, so that I hope you could hear that. Could you hear it loud and clear?
Yes, I could hear it loud and clear. I hope everyone else could hear it loud and clear.
I really hope so too. I've not played a video in a while online, but I have to say that said a lot. I want to talk a bit about the colorful packaging. This issue of
Yes.
colorful packaging, making everything look so attractive. There's certain colors that call out to you more than others. Apparently, a lot of food companies pick certain colors. They pick colors like yellow. They pick colors like red, hot orange, like sunrise orange, and they also pick, I think, bright greens. So those are some of the key colors you see on a lot of these foods that call out to you. So there was a conversation I was listening to online where they said if you see any food packaging with those specific colors, that you're not supposed to buy them. I don't know
The
if
one
that.
with the teddy bear, the one with the teddy bear that tells you high in fiber, the one with the tiger or the
Oh,
lion, don't do it. It's
wow.
very much on purpose. They do it to attract kids. They do it so that parents feel as if, their kids are in safe hands with the teddy bear or the cartoon. It is very much done purposefully so that people do purchase it. I mean, when we were doing our nutrition workshop at SIA, I ran an activity where we gave the kids products, and we asked them to analyze the products and to essentially tell us where are we being lied, or where are we being.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on with the internet. It does seem to be going in and out. Sipiwe, if you can hear me, I'm just going to go back to Chew on This. So, Chew on This is on the website she mentioned earlier on HEALA.org. And it mentioned something really, really interesting. I was so interested in watching more about that. There's another episode here. I'm just going to press play on this and see how this sounds.
The right to food is a constitutional right for all in our country, and it gives every child the right to basic nutrition. Yet at least a fifth of households run out of money for food before the month has ended. With millions of families in survival mode, many are left with no choice but to live on nutritionally inadequate food. This perpetuates cycles of poverty and malnutrition, but also undermines the fundamental human right to food security. Integral to this vicious cycle of poverty and malnutrition is big food, which has driven overconsumption of unhealthy food. For years, many of these companies have set their sights on emerging markets like Africa, selling products with harmful amounts of sugar, fat, and salt. In fact, research tells us that Nestlé is exposing young children from developing countries like South Africa to foods containing high levels of sugar. The researchers found that biscuit-flavored baby cereal contains 6 grams of sugar, while the same product sold in Switzerland, where Nestlé is headquartered, is available with no added sugar. On our show today, we have activists and experts who will help us understand how big food violates our right to nutritious food.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, what a project you guys have embarked on.
Yes.
Goodness me. I have to say, Chew on This is definitely one of those web series where you go back and chew on whatever information they're giving you there. But Simphiwe, there's still loads of challenges that you guys are definitely going to face with your advocacy work. It can't be easy going up against big companies like these. Talk to me about what that's been like. I know you're probably not as head on with this. I know that you have a whole team you're working with. What are the most impactful challenges you've had to deal with? Okay, the internet needs to do us well today, please.
So for myself in running with this campaign, my personal challenge that I've experienced thus far is within interviews where I'm trying to convince people, I'm trying to convince citizens of the importance of backing such campaigns. A lot of people in the last interview that I did, it was mentioned that a lot of people have loyalty to such big food companies, and we can't blame them for the loyalty that they have. So the challenge of trying to convince other people as to why it is that this message is so important and what it actually means for yourself and how it is you can become involved in this. I mean, parents need to be involved in this. We have children that are heavily affected by this. Government needs to take accountability of it. And we live in a democracy. And at the end of the day, the democracy states that the government works for you. So if the people aren't rallying the government to make these changes, then it's very hard for these changes to be made. Big food companies aren't running their own country. They're not running by themselves. They still need to follow laws and regulations that are set up by government. And that's why it's so important for people to be a part of this, so that they make their own country. By virtue of being a part of a democracy, you are a part of creating what you want your country to look like. And what we don't want is for kids to be suffering from non-communicable diseases at an age that's way too early for them to be suffering from. An interesting fact that we learned through HEALA was that sugar is just as addictive as cigarettes. And so when you start pushing sugar into children at a young age, they remain addicted to this product all the way through.
If you're just tuning in with us, we have Simphiwe Masilo. Now, she is a youth advocate, co-founder of the Activating Youth Activism podcast. She has her own podcast on topics like as well. We are talking about the impact of big food on children's health. And just for those that don't understand what big food really represents, big food is generally used as a term of criticism. It's often used to refer to the most powerful global food industry players. Most commonly, it denotes large companies from food manufacturing, processing, and retailing sectors. But it can also be used to refer to even the agricultural producers as well. and as well as the companies that provide agricultural inputs like seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and the like. A lot of these companies are not permitted to work in or to function in certain countries because those countries are advocating for healthier options for their population. Now, you are a youth activist. Now, you're pushing a lot of different messages. Yeah, I'm not going to use the term agenda. Okay, I just did. But the issue is, but as a young person, why is it important for you as a young person to be doing this? It does feel like something someone else should be taking up on their shoulders. Or am I wrong?
I think you're wrong. I think it is up to myself and other young people to be taking this up on our shoulders simply because the future belongs to us. And not even just the future, but currently the present belongs to us too. And more than anything, throughout my advocacy work, one thing I've seen is that when young people want to get things done, they get things done. An example for this is I was a project lead for the South African Youth Gender Action Plan, which was convened through Youth at SIA. And this action plan is a policy framework that was led, created, drafted by young people, and we're currently in implementation stages. Youth Desire also has something called the Youth Implementers for Change program, where essentially they give small grants to young people to implement policy work. And last weekend, I was invited to attend one of our grant receivers events where they were teaching us how to grow our own gardens. They even gave us small vegetables. Got one for my grandmother, spinach, and teaching us how so easy it is for us to do things ourselves. I think that as young people, especially in the history of South Africa, we have proven how effective our voice is. We have proven the importance of us standing at the forefront of such issues. You've got in the climate change space people like Greta Thunberg, who's also a young person pushing and fighting for change to be made for herself now and for her future grandkids. And that's exactly what I'm doing. It's exactly what my other young people are doing. That's exactly, why I created the podcast Activating Youth Activism, so that I can invite other young people like myself to prove a point that it's up to us. It's our future, it's our now, and we need to make a change.
Thank you so much, Simphiwe. I couldn't have said it better. There are probably some communities that could come together to help, in combating this, especially the parenting communities. But let's talk education now, because a lot of this starts in schools. What sort of policies do you think we could put together for schools that would make sure that, at least something is being done to make sure that sugary drinks, for instance, are not
Mhm.
found in school environments? Have you touched on this?
So there's quite a lot of policies that can happen around this. So another organization that I'm actually a founding director of is called the African Rural Sustainable Schools, and it's an organization where essentially we try to create substantive farming within primary school specifically, so that already from that young age, young kids are understanding the need for nutritional foods. And what we found in creating this NPC was that a lot of young kids, especially in rural areas of South Africa, where they get given food from government, aren't receiving the nutritionally adequate food that they need to help them develop their brain and to help them in their learning. So already from your school feeding schemes, if you have organizations such as ARSS, a part of that, or part of teaching the kids the importance of nutrition, a part of teaching the kids how to farm, how to build their own vegetable patches. Salt River High, which was also on that show on this episode, is a good example of a school that's already doing that. Another policy that needs to be implemented within the education system is so for example, South Africa has a class called life orientation. In life orientation, where we used to learn about the food triangle and all the foods that we need in the food triangle, teaching kids the importance of knowing what's in their food and knowing what they're digesting. I remember when I was a kid, I used to run home, and the first thing I used to love eating when I got home was 2-minute noodles. Quick, easy to make, and I could make it myself. My parents had no stress about it. But I didn't know what was in those noodles until started learning about these campaigns, and I started watching the news, and I started seeing what exactly I've been consuming over the years. So in classes already having those conversations to say, hey kids, we know you love your colorful box teddy bear cereals, but this is really what you're consuming. Go home and tell your parents. Parents really do receive the message loud and clear when kids are giving it to them, especially when it's their own kids.
Okay, so it's about getting the kids involved now. You have to get the
Yes.
kids involved. So you're advocating that we should take these messages into the classrooms, give the right information to the teachers, let them know, what they need to show these kids. So I know that here in West Africa, we in a lot of the private schools, I know that they sometimes have a fruit day. They sometimes tell parents, when a particular child is eating too much of one item and doesn't have variety. But then I also know that it's a struggle getting kids to eat, especially when their parents are not with them to enforce it. There's all sorts of easy places to get these items, just sometimes right beside the school, sometimes waiting right outside the school. There's some storekeeper ready to sell to all the eager students that are coming out of the door. What do you envision the future of children's health is if, for instance, these policy advocacy is successful? This is our parting note.
I'm hoping for, first and foremost, a decrease in the amount of non-communicable diseases that children are getting at a young age. For example, the statistics on obesity, especially in South Africa, having one of the highest rates of obesity under the age of 13, that needs to decrease drastically. I envision a future where kids have quick and easy access to nutritional food, the exact same quick and easy access that they have to ultra processed and fast foods. They need to have that to healthy foods. I mean, quick example, I remember in high school, our entire tuck shop changed, and the foods that we were receiving from our tuck shop was specifically nutritional foods, and that was an easy access for us. In primary school, we had an entire assembly where they showed us how much sugar we were consuming over the years as human beings. An entire bag of sugar, 5 kg, is not healthy for us to be consuming, and these things need to change. The same way that big food companies have been marketed so beautifully, nutritional and healthy foods need to be just as beautifully marketed and just as easily accessible.
It's all about the marketing. It's all about the impression the packaging makes. It's all about the messaging on the packaging. You've talked about it being right there on the front cover. And of course, the policies that the government can make sure they put together to make sure that we're doing better as Africans. I have to say a big thank you to you for coming to talk to us, Simphiwe. Honestly, I don't know where you get your energy from. It is not an easy. It's not easy, and I know you have a really busy schedule. I know you're doing quite a lot of things at the same time, but thank you so much for everything you're doing. And yeah, if you need us, if you need any help from us, anything we could do at our end right here in West Africa, in Nigeria, we'll see what messages we can push across on your behalf as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate it if you guys could also just sign the petition that's on that website that you're showing right now. Thank you so much for
Okay.
having me.
It looked like a few more than it looked like more than one petition though. It looked like more than one petition.
Sign all of them.
All of them. Okay. All right. What I'll do is I'll put the link to the website in the caption for this particular post. Speaking of captions, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow this page. This is One on One. Today's topic has been an interesting one: the impact of big food on children's health. Make sure you go back and re-listen or re-watch this particular episode so you understand exactly where we're coming from. Simphiwe, let me let you go now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye. Okay, so it is a very interesting angle. Just a closing remark here, the impact of big food on children's health is a pressing issue all over Africa. Now, that is what Simphiwe is doing in South Africa. This is the impact that HEALA is trying to have on their environment, on their situation. What are we doing in ours? Now the evidence is clear. We all know, we've heard it over and over again. Sugary beverages are harmful, but yeah, you probably still have an ice cold carbonated drink in your fridge right now. There are levies in South Africa for companies that place too much sugar in their drinks, even in juices for children. There are a lot of policies in Europe against so many food items that exist in the US. But what can we do here? We can start in our own small communities and make our own impact. All right, then I'm going to wrap it up on 101 today with this one. But it is a topic that cannot be exhausted. We'd love to see your thoughts, hear your comments as well. Until I come your way next time, have a great day.